Hello everybody, welcome into another video on the AGP YouTube channel. Yeah, we've done a couple of these, now, a few of them. First two were a bit ropey. I think the sound is okay for recording on a phone, and the lighting's a bit better, definitely. Yeah, the last video just looked a lot better, so maybe a bit more appealing for people or whatever. Although this light is incredibly white, I might buy another one. Yeah, so obviously we did a little bit of NFL over the weekend. I'm going to do a little bit more coming into this weekend because obviously it's the next round of the playoffs. And then the other day I did one on the January transfer window. Obviously we do cover a lot of football on the channel too, and we would have been probably doing something, including transfers, if we had been on the podcast anyway. But yeah, so I thought I'd do another one. Like I said, I'll probably do another couple for the NFL coming up over the weekend, probably tomorrow and Friday. I'll maybe do an AFC one and an NFC one. Maybe put them out Thursday, Friday. But I thought I'd do one today. Obviously we do cover a good bit of football, and yeah, it's Liverpool Manchester United this weekend. I think this game has just got an awful lot bigger. If you had said a month ago, it was a big game, obviously, but now there's other things involved. So, yeah, just wanted to talk on a little bit. Obviously, it's going to be a big game. It always is. It's the biggest game in England. It's the biggest rivalry in England. But yeah, obviously today's Wednesday. United just went top of the league last night with a sort of scrappy but well-deserved win against Burnley. They grounded out. So now United are they're top of the league. They're 3 points clear. I don't think anybody would have really expected United to be in the position that they are. As far as their league position, if you had said when the season kicked off with everything that was going on. Obviously they finished last season quite well. Maybe a bit disappointing in the Europa League and stuff, but at the same time they went in a good run from last January. And then they've started this season, the start of the season was a wee bit iffy, but then have had a good run of form recently. So I was just going to talk on a little bit, sort of the connotations around it, maybe key sort of tactical areas, tactical battles and matchups, and sort of what it means for the league and what a result can mean for either team here. I've taken a few notes, so obviously if you're a football fan, we all know United have been on a great run. They haven't actually lost a game since Arsenal on the 1st of November. They lost 1-0, so it's a right while ago now. Well over 2 months. They haven't lost a game. I think they dropped points. Was it against Manchester City? They drew as well. I think they might have another draw in there, maybe with Leicester, was it? But they haven't dropped points in a right while. I think they've won 3 or 4 in the bounce now. So United have been on a good run. They've obviously had that wee area earlier on in the year where they were kind of falling behind too, and then sort of coming back and either getting maybe a draw or winning the game. So they've showed a lot of resilience, this United side. But yeah, and on the other hand, Liverpool in their last 3 games have drawn 2 and lost 1, so they've struggled, which has allowed United to creep up on them. Liverpool got a lot of difficult fixtures out of the way early in the season, but then following that, they had an easier spell over Christmas. I think a lot of Liverpool fans were like, well, there's not a lot of tough games there. Hopefully we can open the gap, kick on now a bit, and sort of put a marker down to try and win the title again. That obviously hasn't materialised. Liverpool dropped a few points over Christmas and into the new year there. So and bad results too. But yeah, it's just made this game all the bigger. Both sides. Well, Liverpool. I think Liverpool would have, going into the season, would have been pretty confident in retaining their league title. I was very much so. We're the best team in the league. From depth wise and everything now with the addition. This is in pre-season anyway, with the additions of Thiago and Jota. Yeah, I think we were going to win the league. Obviously, we know what's happened. We've lost our 2 starting centre halves. That's really put a strain on us. And then with Joel Matip not being reliably fit, we're in trouble. So yeah, on the transfer video I said I think it would be a mistake for Liverpool not to sign a striker or not a centre half this January. I think we desperately need one just because like if Fabinho, God forbid Fabinho went down for any length of time, which he did earlier in the year, I think he strained a hamstring. So if he went down again for any length of time, we would have one centre half who's not always reliably fit. As far as first team quality centre halves, I know we have Reece Williams and Nat Phillips, but they wouldn't really be of the level to compete at the top end of the Premier League. So we all know the situations with both teams going into it anyway. But I wanted to talk a wee bit some sort of tactics, some sort of like key battles around the pitch. Some some good wee talking points and see what you make of it. Obviously, United lost in the game last night. I think Martial went down and Matic went down. Now I don't think Matic might have a big bearing in this game, but I think Martial might. I think most United fans would expect Martial to start in this game, and that'll be a big loss for them if he is missing. So there's a few areas. First of all, I wanted to talk about, as I said, I don't think Matic is a big miss here because a lot of the time I feel in these sort of bigger games, Ollie rolls with Fred and McTominay. As I said in the transfer video, I don't think either one of them is an out-and-out centre defensive midfielder, and I don't think that either one of them can do that job just on their own. I think Fred and both McTominay are better like pressing on the front foot. They're better at getting into tackles and creating pressure and pressing than they are sitting as a pivot in front of the back line and behind the sort of more advanced midfielders. But he's went with these two, and I think that they sort of, with having both of them in there, they do provide energy, they do provide legs, and they'll run all day for you. And I think he trusts them, and he has went to them in some of the bigger games this season. And I think that he's going to start them again. I know that some United fans are sort of, one, they're upset about the sort of lack of playing time for Donny van de Beek, and the other one, they're sort of like, well, why can't we play with both Pogba and Bruno? And Fred and McTominay have been played together a good bit this season, so I think that I understand why Ollie's doing it. He wants a bit more defensive solidity in these big games, and if you have maybe the likes of Van de Beek or Pogba and Fernandes all in the middle of the park, in that three at least anyway, it could leave a wee bit. It could leave one of them in, whomever it would be, a little bit open and a wee bit vulnerable. So I think he's went with Fred and McTominay a good bit, and I think he'll go with him again. There has been a little bit of an adaptation as far as Ollie's went, and it probably will roll into this whole Martial thing too. Like, Martial is now probably going to be out. I would have maybe tipped him to be starting up front as far as this weekend goes. So if Martial's out now, you could maybe see, I've seen United have kind of played Pogba nearly on the left. You're playing a 4-2-3-1, and you've kind of played him on that left wing nearly. Obviously he's not a winger, but you've played him in that left of the three in behind. So that could be another position that maybe he goes with Fred, McTominay, Bruno Fernandes in the hole, and then Pogba on the left wing, maybe Rashford on the right, and maybe Cavani up front. I could see that as a team. The one thing I'm sort of thinking about in this game too is the structure and the way the two teams are going to set up and the way they're both going to want to play. I think if United had Martial fit and Rashford fit, but Rashford is fit, but if they had Martial in this game, I think we wouldn't have seen Cavani. Ollie's very comfortable in these sort of bigger games, sort of conceding possession and letting the other team try to dictate the play, and then winning the ball and being really rapid in transitions. Bruno Fernandes is great. They're great at getting the ball into Fernandes and them sorts of wee holes and pockets, and then him releasing the runners. So Martial, Rashford, even Mason Greenwood at times when he's played. And I think that he would have had that, and I don't think we would have seen Cavani starting. If Martial, well, he might still, Martial maybe still plays. I'm not entirely sure what the injury update is on that there, but I think that would have been the way that Ollie would have went. He would have had the speedsters on to try and, because Liverpool do obviously play very high up the pitch with a very high defensive line, and I think that he would have looked to taking advantage of that and had a few more speedy players in there. Rashford, Martial, maybe even Greenwood, to catch Liverpool out in transitions. Um, but if Martial isn't playing, I think then it's nailed on going to be Cavani in there, which might take away a little bit from Manchester. Well, it will take away a bit from Manchester United on the break. He's a completely different footballer. He's a wily old striker, is Cavani, but speed is not what he's gifted with. But it's going to be interesting. Obviously, the big question for Liverpool is who starts at the back. I've seen a few Liverpool journalists have been reporting that they think that Matip's going to be fit, that he's going to be okay for the game. So that's a big boost for Liverpool. The Matip and Fabinho combination partnership back there is fine. It's actually fairly good, in all honesty. It's just, as I said, one of them is a centre defensive midfielder, and then the other, his injury history is really catching up with him, and he just can't be on the pitch 2 and 3 times a week. It's not possible. Now, if Matip's fit, I'm a lot more confident going into this game. One thing that Reece Williams, who has played recently, isn't gifted with his pace. He even got caught out the other night against the Villa youth side. But the lad was playing for Kidderminster last season, so he is quite young and maybe has room to develop. But right now, to come up against the United attack force, which is purring, is dangerous. So if Matip's fit, I'm a lot more confident. Also, if Martial is out and they have to start Cavani, I would worry about Reece Williams against Cavani. Cavani's crafty, bit of a fox in the box. He knows all the tricks of the trade, does Cavani. I'll put it that way. So a young, inexperienced centre half could definitely be caught out. And if Reece Williams did start, Cavani's going to stay, touch tight to him. He's not going to go to Fabinho too much. Fabinho's shown himself to be a more than competent centre half, and he'd pick on the kid basically. But if Matip's fit, and it is a Matip-Fabinho partnership against Cavani, I'm happy enough with that. As I said, I would be a little bit more worried if it was Martial in transition. There is, Fabinho and Matip aren't gifted with pace, but they're competent and smart enough to know where to be. We've seen it against the likes of Werner and stuff earlier in the season when Fabinho had to step in. Looked fine. Even though he's not gifted with pace, but that's going to be a key area too. Who starts up front for Manchester United? If it is Cavani, that's going to be key. If it's Cavani and Reece Williams, I'm worried. If it's Cavani and Matip, obviously I feel a lot more confident. So we're both going in with a few injuries. Obviously we already know Virgil van Dijk and Joe Gomez and that are going to be gone. But yeah, the other one, as I said, is Pogba playing on the left of this sort of front three. Well, this three in behind your out and out striker. It's an interesting one, but again, if he is playing there, maybe you do go with say Rashford through the middle. Don't start Cavani, and maybe play Pogba on the left and Fernandes, and then maybe the likes of a Mason Greenwood if he's fit. I'm not sure. I haven't seen Mason Greenwood in a while. Pogba on the left's an interesting one. Like that will allow Manchester United to get the ball in transition and move it very, very quickly, because you will have Fernandes and Pogba in there. The only thing then is that I think that Manchester United should probably start Rashford on the left wing. Rashford will run into the ground for you. He's obviously a Manchester United boy, and he'll give everything he has for the badge and for the club. So he will run himself into the ground, and that is now Trent got a little bit of criticism recently for giving it away 36 times. Now he didn't have a great game. I'm not here to defend that. But what Trent does is he does pop balls around the corner. He is trying to switch the play. He is, the balls that he gave away, the 36 attempts or whatever, the 36 times he gave away the ball, a lot of it's trying to create, it's trying to cross balls in, it's trying to, put balls into the channels for the likes of Salah and Firmino, switches of play and stuff like that. So he didn't have a good game by no means, but the criticism that he got for it's a bit over the top, but sure, I suppose that's the way all football punditry is now anyway. But if Pogba was playing on the left wing, I think that Trent would have a lot more time on the ball to do what he wants to do. You're not going to get the defensive output and cover that you're going to get from Rashford and Paul Pogba. It's not going to happen. So Trent would have a lot more time and space to do what he wants to do on the ball, and he is obviously very creative for us as well. So I think that Ollie's got a decision to make. What does he do? Does he play Rashford on the left? Does he go with Cavani up front? But then you have a lack of pace at the very tip of the spear there, or does he go with Rashford up top, but then Pogba on the left? But then that's maybe more of a defensive worry. The other big one is transitions. You have to stop Manchester United in transition. Liverpool are very good at counter pressing, but sometimes they can overcommit to a counter press, and especially with a neat and tidy player like Bruno Fernandes, he can take a touch, turn a man, get his head up, and get the ball out of his feet very, very quickly. So Liverpool have to be very wary of that. Manchester United in transition are the best team in the league at it at the minute. Wolves were very good at it for a period, but they haven't had their best season. United are very good in transition, and they do favour that style of play a little bit more in these big games. So Liverpool definitely need to be very, very wary of that, and I think that's the way the game will sort of pan out a little bit. Liverpool will dominate possession in this game, and Manchester United are kind of happy enough to concede it in these bigger games, as I said earlier. But Liverpool will look to control the ball, and I think both defensively and offensively, really, that's Liverpool's best form of best game plan in this game. Deny United the football, and I'm going to talk about Liverpool's midfield here. It's going to have a good game. Obviously, we're now without our best centre defensive midfielder. He's now playing at centre half, so Jordan Henderson has to have a really good game. I want to see Gini Wijnaldum in this game as well, and I also want to see Thiago. Thiago's now back and fit and ready to play. And I think the best way for Liverpool to, one, break this Manchester United side down and prevent them from, counter-attacking and in transition is to keep the ball. I think if you have Henderson, Wijnaldum and Thiago in there, it's going to be very hard to get the ball off them. And I think it'll be very hard for them to give the ball. They'll not give the ball away in too many dangerous positions, or I wouldn't think so anyway. They're three fabulous footballers, very neat and tidy on the ball. Henderson has improved so much on the ball over this last 3 or 4 years. Wijnaldum, as I like to say, is Dutch as fuck. He doesn't give the ball away. He's very, very good in positions, even under pressure, being pressed and stuff like that. He's great at it. And we all know about Thiago's ability. He's the best out of the three in that regard. And his passing gives an extra dynamic to that midfield three. Liverpool have kind of been stifled this last few weeks as far as attacking options. I think that we've been trying to cover ourselves. I think we're a wee bit worried about our frailties at the back and are not opening ourselves up and really going for it. I think we're a little bit worried about transitions and stuff like that, and we're sort of playing conservatively and within ourselves. And that's fine, but if you have Matip and Fabinho there, I think Liverpool will have a better platform to attack from. They'll be a lot more confident if it's them two back there. And then I think we can retain the ball really well with our midfield three. And then it's just down to the front three to do what they normally do. It's been fits and starts a wee bit from the front three this year. Mane started the season slow, and Salah started quite fast. Firmino started slow and came back into it more recently, and now Mane has as well. Salah's sort of tailed off at least a little bit in this last couple of weeks. But the front three, I think, will be on. It's obviously a big game. It's a big game to get up for. And, in one of the other big games this year, Liverpool played Spurs. And we played with Reece Williams that day. Now, Spurs did have 2 or 3 close chances that day. But at the same time, Liverpool dominated the ball, dominated possession, and nullified Harry Kane and Heung-min Son for a good portion of the game. They played very well that day. I was a little bit worried seeing Reece Williams on the team sheet, obviously coming up against Harry Kane, and then Son, who's had a brilliant season as well. But if Liverpool can control the game, I think we're better at it than Manchester United. I think we're really, really good at controlling the game, squeezing teams in, not letting them out. We were better at that with Joe Gomez and Virgil van Dijk because we could press really, really high and then not let the team out. And then if they did get in behind, them two have the recovery pace to get back and cover it. That's where we can't really squeeze teams in just as much and put them under just as much pressure at the minute. But I think, especially this last few weeks, I think when we've been kind of Like our last centre half partnership there was Fabinho and Henderson, so I don't think that we're just as comfortable, and we can't really press. And Liverpool are a fine tuned machine as well. So you take your best centre defensive midfielder out and put him in centre half. That makes your midfield weaker. Then in one of the last games, we had to move our next best centre defensive midfielder in Jordan Henderson and move him into centre half, so it weakens your midfield. I think if Fabinho, Matip is there, it gives you a good platform to attack from. And then Henderson, Wijnaldum, and Thiago, their mission is to control the game. Pen United in, don't give them much time in the ball, and really get in and around Bruno Fernandes as well to limit his brilliant play in transition. I think if Liverpool can do that, they can win. And then on the United side, I think if United can soak up the pressure and be clinical, really, really be clinical, score, take your chances when they come, because there will. I'm not as confident in the Liverpool defensively this year as I was last year and even the year before, for good reason, obviously. But at the same time, Liverpool will give you a chance or two, and it's just whether United are clinical enough to take them. I can't envision a scenario where United are penning Liverpool in. The games at Anfield, obviously no crowd doesn't really make much of a difference at the minute, but I can't really envision a scenario. Now, there will be probably periods of play where United dominate possession at least a little bit and come on to Liverpool. Liverpool will probably try and counter press and counter attack themselves, but I would say for the 60 odd % of the game, I think it'll be a Liverpool controlled game, especially if they play them three in midfield. I think we'll get our foot in the ball a little bit more. And then it's down to Liverpool to break Manchester United down. Liverpool have struggled this last few weeks, breaking poor opposition down. And it's down to us to break you down. And then it's down to Manchester United to really take their chances, create, you will create and you will have a few chances, no doubt about it, and especially on the break, I'd imagine. And it's down to United to be clinical when them chances come. I felt like a few times against Spurs they weren't clinical. They missed chances. Two of them stick out quite heavily. I think it was Bergwijn missed one, and Kane maybe. So take the chances when they come, and if United can get 1-0 up, it'll be very hard for Liverpool, I'd imagine. But I don't. The United backline's another one. It's been an issue for them, I'd say, a good bit most of the year. I'd say most United fans aren't really entirely trustworthy of their backline. It's looked a wee bit better with the introduction of Eric Bailly this last while. We know what he offers. He's powerful, good in the air, fast as well. But Eric Bailly's wild. He's as likely to injure himself as somebody else. And Liverpool can be clever in there. Hopefully there's no fucking penalties in this game. Jesus, it'd be a nightmare, but that'd be the end of it altogether. But Liverpool's front three need to be on it. Wan-Bissaka and Mane will be a good matchup again. Luke Shaw and Mo Salah as well. I would say that Ollie will go with Harry Maguire and Eric Bailly. I think that's the best partnership for them, as far as a little bit of speed with Eric Bailly to help. But Liverpool can get at that backline. That backline's still not great. I don't trust it in any way, shape, or form. I think Wan-Bissaka's positional sense is iffy at best. I think Eric Bailly is he's fantastic in one way and a complete liability in another. And then Harry Maguire, he's been the focus of a lot of attention. He makes silly decisions at times. Sometimes the amount of times he's left the ball where he should be putting his head on it or put his boot through it or something is unbelievable. And then Luke Shaw's fine. I think Luke Shaw's fine. He's a good, solid left back. I don't think he lights the world on fire, but he's good. I don't know if they'll play Alex Telles. I think they'll maybe go for Luke Shaw for a wee bit more defensive stability. One-on-one versus Salah. Luke Shaw's sort of physical and strong too, so Salah does like that. Does like to use his strength as well against some left backs and bully them a little. But Liverpool's front three can get at United's backline. But I also think United in transition and with their speed can get at Liverpool's backline this season as well. So it's going to be a fascinating game. There'll be nothing but bad manners going on between the boys on the podcast and even our wider circle of friends, I'd say, on Sunday. The United fans have got their tails up now that they're top of the league. We were sort of given a little bit of bad manners about, is it your year and all that. But yeah, it should be good. It's a big game on Sunday. You know, it's not going to win you anything right now. We're not even at the halfway point yet. As far as the season goes, but it's a big game. And I think it's a good. Well, I don't think United are the best team in the league this year. I think Liverpool have the best team in the league. I think that obviously we're the defending Premier League champions and that, but this season and the way it's panning out, injuries, the COVID, everything has been a bit of a leveler. You can see that throughout the league. You know, you can say that somebody's having a bad season. Like, I personally don't think that Chelsea are having a great season, but they're only something like 6 or 7 points behind Liverpool, so it's not a massive gap. The league table and the points difference throughout the league the whole way down isn't much. So I think that the way the seasons went is a great leveler for some teams. I think that Manchester City and Liverpool are still the two best sides in this league, but I think the way the season's panning out, it's sort of leveling it out a bit, and United are in a good vein of form at the minute. They're showing the wee signs, winning when you're not playing well, coming from behind to win, all these things. But United have been known for these sort of like really hot stretches this last couple of seasons since Ollie's been in. They've had sort of like blocks of good, consistent performances and then real abject and disappointing performances. None other than at the start of this season where, they had a great performance to start their Champions League group and then are now in the Europa League. So it's going to be interesting. It's a big game. There's still a long way to go. It's not going to be a title decider, but I think it's definitely an opportunity for Manchester United anyway to put a marker down. I think, again, it was the same for Spurs a few weeks back. Spurs had the chance to really sort of lay a marker down. Here we are. We're playing really good stuff and we're going to challenge for the title. Now, they're still not a million miles away, Spurs, as I said, with the points difference across the league. But it was a chance for them to go, right, we're going to go and beat Liverpool now and really stamp our claim and really open up a gap. If United win on Sunday, there's a 6-point gap between them and Liverpool. It's definitely an opportunity to put a marker down, create a gap. See, this is the thing. Liverpool had this chance. Liverpool had this chance to really kick on after a sort of tough spell. They had, the tough run of games and a lot of Champions League games with Tottenham and that as well to come. And then they had a stint of easier fixtures, which they then dropped points in. So Liverpool had this opportunity and blew it in one way. And now United have the chance. Beat Liverpool, you're 6 points clear at the top. So it's a big game. I think the one thing that everybody's sort of forgetting about is Manchester City. They just look like Manchester City don't look phenomenal going forward. They don't look like the Manchester City of old, but Pep's playing a wee bit more conservatively, I think. They look like they've sorted their backline out a little bit. I think that they could be susceptible to more draws this season, where maybe they only score one and it ends up 1-1, or they don't score and it's a 0-0. But they're chugging away slowly in the background here, as well. Manchester City have me worried a little bit more than Manchester United have. There's the first dig of the the video. Manchester City have me worried a wee bit, and I think it's going to be I sort of thought that maybe this wouldn't have as big an impact this season, but it's going to be a tight title race, and teams are going to have to put runs of games together. Liverpool this is a big game for Liverpool too. They need to come back and really make a statement and get another win, because they're the team in crisis right now. There's always got to be one team in crisis, so Liverpool are that right now. But it's a big game, and there's nobody going to win the league on Sunday, but it's definitely a chance to kick on, either for Manchester United or to re-establish for Liverpool a title challenge. It's going to be fun. A lot of my mates and stuff have said, it's kind of weird, and we even talked about it on our History of Rivalry podcast. It's kind of weird that there hasn't really been a period in time where Liverpool and Manchester United have competed for the Premier League against each other. We sort of had our period of dominance whilst the other was faltering. So it's interesting. Maybe this is the year for it. It's definitely going to be a lot more interesting when European football comes back in. United have that tough Thursday, Sunday run in the Europa League to do. The other thing is we're playing each other again in the FA Cup a few days later, so aye, it's gonna be nuts. It's gonna be a good few days anyway. I'm sure the banter will be flying. And we just both of us need to watch out for Manchester City. They're quietly going about their business and not just getting as much media coverage and allowed to sort of just build this bit of momentum. So it's gonna be tight. I'll do a wee prediction then for the crack as well. I'm gonna go with Liverpool 2-0. I was sort of thinking 2-0 or 2-1. I think it'll be 2-1 if Matip doesn't play. And if Matip does play, I think it's going to be 2-0. I think Liverpool will be up for it. They'll not want to, they'll not want to fall 6 points behind their biggest rival. Definitely not, especially the year after winning the league. I think that Liverpool will be writing up for this game. I think we may come out with a very high intensity. We sort of looked lackluster in the last few games, but I don't think that that's going to happen this one. I think we're going to come out with a very high intensity. Really try and pen United in. I think maybe we could get an early goal, Mo Salah maybe. Early goal, and then somewhat like the time we played last year, I think we could maybe get another one later on when United have to come forward a bit. That's what I'm going to go for. An early goal for Liverpool, and United have to come forward a little bit in the second half. Maybe 70 odd minutes on, they have to really press to get a goal, and Liverpool catch them on the break. That's what I'm going to go for. 2-0 if Matip plays, 2-1 if it has to be Reece Williams. And we'll see what way that goes. God help me if United win. But as I said, they'll be doing a few more of these for the foreseeable. We'll sort of get something set up and see what way everything turns out. I'll be back later in the week to do a couple of tomorrow and Friday to probably do, as I said, the NFL ones. For the playoffs this weekend. That's it. Liverpool, Manchester United on Sunday. I'm sure it'll be good. Enjoy it. If you do win, United fans, I'll have to listen to an awful amount of shit. But we'll see what way it goes. I think Liverpool, we were under pressure to get a result against Spurs, and everybody was talking about Harry Kane and Heung-min Son, and we got a result that day. So I think it'll definitely be a tester for Manchester United to see how far they've come. I think, because I still think Liverpool are the best team in this league, but we're obviously not at full strength as far as centre halves go. So we'll see. But yeah, I enjoy the football over the weekend. I'll maybe get on here and slag yous or something if we win. If not, I'll definitely avoid it. But we'll keep doing a few more of these. I think maybe Crippy and Vesty will do something. And I think it's definitely better now. I think I'm gonna, that white light's incredibly bright, so I might get like a softer light and stuff too. But I think it's coming out okay. The videos, the quality's a bit better, definitely. And then I think the sound's fine for the time being. So if you're a regular listener that was on the streaming sites and you're now over on the YouTube channel, subscribe to the YouTube channel so you get you get a wee notification or whatever it is whenever one of these videos are posted. We'd greatly appreciate that. And I think you click the wee bell as well. So there's that. Give the video a like if you want as well. We appreciate that too. As I said, maybe we'll get the other two lunatics to do something as well, and maybe see if Dev, if you're gonna watch this, you have to do one for Liverpool United as well. Throw you it up. Vesty, if you can get a video up and recording, do that too. And sure, we'll see. We'll have a bit of a laugh over the weekend. Thanks very much for tuning in, folks. I think that's it. That'll do me. I'll get out of here. Cheers.